Hey everyone, and thanks for jumping back into the cryptoverse today. Not that we ever left, right? I mean, I feel like the last time anyone got a good night's sleep was probably last year, right, in 2020. But
got a good
with
night's
that
sleep.
said, let's go ahead and jump into the cryptoverse if you were not already here. So for the 5 of you not already watching the markets and sleeping with one eye open, looking at your apps that track the price. Here we are. We're looking at around a $1,200 Ether and a $35,000 Bitcoin. So let me just post this in a couple different places, and then we will jump in. How's everyone doing? All right, another day of honest work. And hopefully, I mean, with Bitcoin's chilling at around 35K, Ether's hanging out around 12K or 1200, not 12K. That'd be something. But Ether's around 1200. Let's switch over to shorter time frames so we can see what's going on. You can see the momentum moving up here. If you guys were following the stream, we had a stream yesterday, and we were following the general move, right? This general move that we were basically just eyeballing and waiting essentially for it to break out. But at the time, it was like 9 hours away or something. So we went to bed, and here we are. So let's jump right back in. We see that Ether has in fact rallied out. It looks like the local top is around 1215, close to 1216. Bitcoin is still chilling around 34.9, 35,000, and Ether Bitcoin is still holding up very strong, very, very strong. It's currently at 0.0342 as measured from the bottom in December. Remember the end of December, up 50%, 51%, right? Well, is this surprising? Not really, right? I mean, this is exactly what we said would likely happen if history was any indication. So, this, I think it makes sense, right? It makes sense. So, with an Ether around $1,200, of course, it makes you wonder, well, how high can it go, right? How high can it go? And I just recorded a video on looking at these short-term theoretical Ether moves. I'll probably publish it at the end of this live stream, but maybe we'll cover some of it in this live stream as well. But the main coins that we cover on this channel are Bitcoin, Ethereum, Link, ADA, and DOT. And these coins are doing very well. They're doing really well right now. If we take a look, Bitcoin's at 35K, Ethereum's at $1,200. DOT is coming in hot at 10. Well, it's not really coming in hot, I guess. It's been pretty stable here for a few days. But, I mean, a modest $10. Maybe we can come in hot to a $20 DOT. And, that would definitely be something to get out of bed for. ADA coming in really hot at 31 cents. With a local top at 35.6 cents, with a global top back in 2018 of over $1.30 or so. I think it was like around $1.38. Maybe you guys can correct me if I'm wrong. So a lot of things are coming in hot right now. Link, finally, welcome. You were missed for a little while here. We welcome you back to the party. We got a $17 link. Just a few days ago, we published a video on Chainlink. It was like 30 minutes long. talking about all the ways in which it looked like it was undervalued at the time. I think it was around $13 or $14, something like that, right? It's a few bucks among friends. $17 link is still, it's good, right? And it still is up well over 10x or around 10x or so from March. If we measure it from the wick, which probably hardly anyone bought the wick, but it's up over 10x. More realistically, you would have had a reasonable chance of buying these bottoms of these candles over here, and then you'd be looking at about a 900% move, an 867% move, right? Which 900% is 10x. So again, as always, we have very high expectations for the coins we hold, and if they don't perform, we have to cut them. You don't get emotionally attached to anything, right? But let's take a look. We got Bitcoin and Ethereum. We have Cardano coming in really hot right now, 71% in the last week, 21.8% in the last day. It's a stone throw from passing Litecoin and XRP and ushering itself into the top 3. So keep an eye on ADA, maybe making a move into the top 3. We don't count stablecoins. So far, the top 5 are Bitcoin, Ethereum, XRP, Litecoin, and ADA. So ADA has in fact flipped DOT, but this is just friendly competition. You guys know I'm very bullish on both of these coins, and there's nothing wrong with a little bit of friendly competition from time to time. And we'll see if DOT can get moving too. I mean, it's at 10.15, and a $10 DOT is nice, right? A $10 DOT is nice, but I wonder what a $20 DOT would feel like. I just wonder. And so again, as I've said before, a lot of times, I mean, if you guys remember, we made several videos saying that this is the accumulation phase for DOT, and we're going to look back on it and say, man, why didn't you buy more? So we're going to keep following it, and we'll see if we can break out of this little band we've been in here for a few days between around $9 and $10. It looks like it actually had a wick all the way up to $11 on January 3rd. But if I wasn't there to live stream it, did it really happen? You could debate that. So Chainlink is still in the top 10, but it's holding on. Okay, it flipped BNB, which it needed to do because Stellar flipped Link, because Stellar is just going on a tear. I do own a little bit of Stellar, believe it or not. Of course, this is on the premium list up, but I'm not buying it now, but I do own a little bit of it. Not nearly as much as the other 5 coins I talk about, but we'll see where it goes. I'm not a huge fan of Bitcoin Cash. As far as I'm concerned, well, yeah, let's see Link flip Bitcoin Cash if this rally can keep going, and hopefully it will. If we take a look at the total market capitalization, we're flirting with 1 trillion. We're at 959 billion, as we said. I'm putting in my work every single stream so far. We're going up by about 20 billion. 2 streams ago we were at 920. Last night's stream we were at 940. Now we're coming in hot at 960. So maybe if we were to extrapolate that somewhat dubiously, then by the next stream we maybe will be at 980. $980 billion market cap followed by a $1 trillion market cap. And it would be interesting to see what happens once we get to 1 trillion. Getting to a $1 trillion market cap will certainly make headlines, and it's going to be something we're going to want to keep a close eye on. So coming in hot to a $1 trillion market capitalization, we have a ton of momentum right now. Hopefully Bitcoin can just keep doing its thing. If it gets too bullish, right? I mean, it's pretty bullish right now. If it starts breaking its prior all-time high and heading back up to 36K, 37K, something like that, then we would expect the dominance to in the short term start moving back up, just like it did yesterday, right? We had this candle yesterday where the dominance moved up. It's because Bitcoin broke its prior all-time high and headed higher. So money kind of bled back out of altcoins back into Bitcoin. No one wants to miss the Bitcoin move. And we also recognize that typically altcoins do not perform as well as Bitcoin once Bitcoin starts moving. So there's definitely a lot of short-term trading going on here. Anyways, if we go back to, say, the 1 hour time frame, the dominance has peaked at around 73.72%, which is where it was about a year ago. It came down, it bottomed over here at around 68.15 or so, which is exactly where we are. So keep an eye on that area. Maybe we can get below it. If we don't, it might imply that Bitcoin is starting to move back up, which it is slightly moving back up. We're at 32.5 or 35.2, almost 35.3, and the prior all-time high is 35.868. So with that in mind, let's go back and so Ether is doing quite well. We're now at 1206. If we were to do what we like to do and look at the Ether Bitcoin valuation, we're going to switch this over to the monthly time frame and then look at the 20-month and the 50-month, our two best friends for Ether when it comes to the Ether Bitcoin valuation. And we're going to get rid of the bull market support band. And we're just going to note, look at how beautiful the 20-month played out, right? We talked about the 20-month for a long time. Look how beautiful it played out as holding us as support on the open and close, right? The body of the candle. Perfect, right? A textbook bottom here. And you can even see too, I mean, we had a double bottom, right? Right here. An explosive move back to the upside. And hopefully heading back up to the 50-month, which is where we had the identic top in September of 2020. If we get back there, it would imply an Ether Bitcoin valuation of around 0.041. If we assume the price of Bitcoin is invariant, which it's not, but if it were, we'll take 35,300 and multiply it by 0.041. That would put the valuation of Ether at 1447, which, as we said before, is coincidentally its prior all-time high, approximately speaking, plus or minus a few dollars, right? What's a few bucks among friends? And so we'll keep it moving, right? We're going to keep it moving. I think we're going to look back at this and say, you know what? This was the second year in a row we discussed this Ether move in January against Bitcoin. It's playing out again. We'll discuss it next year as well. Maybe we'll have a scary December capitulation wick as well. But don't forget about what Ether's capable of once Q1 arrives. Q1 has almost always been really good for Ether. The 90-day ROI for Ether, as measured from October, November, and December, it tends to be among the best in terms of averaging that out. So we'll see if we can push higher. The current local top of Ether is 1215.98. So we want to see if we can break through that. And of course, part of that will depend on what Bitcoin does here, because Bitcoin is starting to get heated a little bit here at 35.3. So we want to keep an eye on Bitcoin. Let's overlay our regression band. We're getting heated, right? We're moving up. We're not that far away from the top here. Now remember, as I've said before, the bottom, and I guess I should pull this up on something else where we have more history. Let's pull this up on the BLX. So the bottom band is something that, in my opinion, is more sound. Okay, this is much more sound. It's probably fit to like 500 or 600 data points, what I would consider non-bubble data, right? The top is not. The top is fit to 3 data points, right? So it's fit to 3 data points. There's a lot more uncertainty in the top, and obviously, as we know, right, timing the top is very difficult to do. So have some flexibility, right? Have some flexibility with the top. Okay, have some flexibility with it, because currently, if we were to go to the top, which I don't know that we will, but if we did, it would correspond to a Bitcoin valuation between 55K up to 81K. So it would span about $26,000, the band that we have here for a theoretical Bitcoin top. Now, for us to get to a $55,000 Bitcoin in the short term, it would imply us going up another 60%. So if Bitcoin goes up to another 60%, then it's making it to the bottom of this band, okay? If it goes up another 140%, it's going to make it to the top. Now, again, we remember that these are monotonically going up, right? They don't ever decrease, they just go up. And it's because the fair valuation, which is this green line in the middle of this band, the fair valuation is always going up. right? So because the fair valuation is going up, we're always measuring it in terms of overvaluation from the fair value. The fair value is all the way down at like 11,183. Obviously, I'm not saying we're going to go back down to that level anytime soon. You can see that prior times we've left the band, it can take us a while to get back into it. Okay, and by the time we get back to it, maybe Bitcoin's much, much higher than where it is today. So we're going to keep an eye on where Bitcoin's headed. If we go over to, say, the extension from the 20 week, we're getting pretty heated again. The only time we were more overheated than this in 2017 was the final blow off peak. Just something to keep in mind. Remember, it's not financial advice. None of what I say is financial advice. But don't go betting the family farm on something we in fact are getting very heated right now. And we know, if history is any indication, that things can extend much further than we could ever imagine. But at the same time, as I've said before, you're not going to go broke taking profits. So just something to keep in mind. There's nothing wrong with holding Bitcoin long term if that's your strategy. But if you want to make sure you're taking profits and you can, do other things with the money, like pay off your house or pay off your car, whatever it may be, there's in my opinion, there's nothing wrong at all with taking profits along the way. I still hold, with that said, I still hold the majority position of my Bitcoin. So I still hold the majority of it. Now, when you look at these types of markets, again, as I've said before, momentum is a hell of a drug, and it's until we see a definitive change, things are more likely to go up than they are down. So it's I know people like shorting and that kind of stuff, but I would never recommend leverage trading on this channel, mainly because of the opportunity cost, right? The opportunity cost is really high. If you operate deterministically, again, if we assume that Bitcoin's going to go to six figures one day, and you're losing Bitcoin today by leverage trading, then there's a huge opportunity cost to that. Maybe you say, oh, well, it's 35,000. Well, that could be 150,000 later on, right? So be responsible. And we're going to keep an eye on Bitcoin here because it's really only about $500 away from its all-time high. Its all-time high on Coinbase is 35,868. We're currently at 35,342. The dominance has moved up a little bit since we last mentioned it a few minutes ago. Let's switch over to a 5-minute time frame and see what it's doing, because this is the bottom that it had was right there. So it looks like it's come right back down to that bottom. So this is going to be something we want to keep an eye on, right? This is something we want to keep an eye on, because this will ultimately, in order for the Ether Bitcoin valuation to keep moving up, we would ideally like to see the dominance of Bitcoin continue to fall. So it would need to somehow fall back through this level here. If it doesn't mean the other cryptocurrencies can't go up. It just means that they're probably not going to be outperforming Bitcoin. Some of them will be, right? Some of them will be, but in terms of the altcoin market as a whole is not going to be outperforming Bitcoin, obviously, if the Bitcoin dominance is going up in the short term. All right, gotta take care of the chat here for a minute. How's everyone doing today? All right. Hopefully everyone's doing well. Remember, the altcoin market is also pretty heated right now. Again, ADA, 31 cents. It was 12 cents on December 23rd. So about 2 weeks ago, the price of ADA hit 12 cents, and now we're at 31 cents. So let that sink in. If it hasn't, link is finally moving some here, since this whole market got started. It's currently at 717. Obviously, it still leaves some to be desired. The current all-time high for Link was earlier this year in August at $20 or so. So we're coming pretty close to breaking that. So in order to get to the prior all-time high, Link needs to go up another 20%. Remember to subscribe to the channel if you guys like the content. Give the video a thumbs up. Let's get those likes up to 1,000. But yeah, I do think this will be interesting to watch the Bitcoin dominance, because it looks like it's bounced again off this level, off this capitulation wick that it had on January 4th. Same bounce here, January 6th. Sorry, I'm just sleepy, I guess. For ADA Bitcoin, we mentioned the idea of this accumulation phase. We came back into the accumulation area. We're right back at the top right now. Okay, so if you look at this line, which I guess we can extend it out. In fact, we're right at it. Right, we're right at the top of what we discussed previously as being the accumulation band. Okay, so we had a wick above up to 995 satoshis. Clearly 1,000 satoshis might be some level of resistance, but that is something to keep an eye on as well. So we're keeping an eye on ADA. Link against Ether is still not looking so hot. The total market capitalization is still at around 959 billion. Link against Bitcoin has had a bit of a surge, right? Maybe this was the bottom. I don't know. It's hard to catch a falling knife, but we'll see if we can get back on track or not. At the peak, Link reached a valuation against Bitcoin of around 170,000 satoshis, and now it's all the way back down at 48,000 satoshis. Okay, so if it went to its prior top at 170,000 sats, and Bitcoin stayed constant at 35.2, which it won't, but let's just take it back. So if it went to say 0.0017, then that would in fact put Link at a modest $60, right? It would put Link at $60 if it were to go back to the prior valuation against Bitcoin of 170,000 satoshis or so. Which, I mean, is a tall order. It is a tall order considering how far it would need to rise. Against Bitcoin, it would have to rise 252%. And again, if it means it's $60, then that means that the price of Bitcoin is invariant, which it won't be. So yeah, we've talked about VeChain. I do own a little bit, as I've mentioned several times on the last several live streams, because we even have a couple videos on VeChain on the channel. So we definitely are keeping an eye on VeChain. I suppose I can pull it up here. So it's around 3 cents or so. So this is one we're tracking too. I mean, the whole market is doing relatively well, right? You have Bitcoin, Ethereum, XRP, Litecoin. Litecoin's pretty close to flipping XRP, in fact. It's actually very close to doing so. Cardano still has a little ways to go. It's coming in at a $10 billion market capitalization. DOT is around $9 billion. Chainlink's $6 billion. Almost $7 billion. So again, we'll keep an eye on the dominance. How's everyone doing? Do you guys have any questions? Remember to like and subscribe. Let's go for 90,000 subscribers, but Probably won't reach that on this live stream, but maybe we could get to 84,000. We're currently at 83,686, so another 350 subscribers or so will be at 84,000 subs. Who's making some money in these markets? Hopefully you've been making some money in these markets. Yeah, I do have a strategy for selling odds, but it's for the premium list. You can find that in the description below. All right, we'll talk about the other coin. I know we've let's see. So we used to talk about Nano some on the channel. So I know we have some Nano fans. I haven't really spoken about it as much recently, but it is on fire as well. It's above $2, so keep an eye on it. I mean, again, I think its main competition is stable coins, but I know they would disagree. This one reached around $38 back in 2018, so looks like it's back above $2. It hasn't been this high since October of 2018. So that one's moving. I know a lot of people like Theta. We don't really cover it on the channel that much, but I do know a lot of people enjoy it, obviously, because of its pretty impressive move. I do not own Theta. Coming in now would be very risky. But I understand why people are following it. It's a pretty bullish move. From the bottom of the candle, it was around 5 or 6 cents, and now it's over $2. So this one is performing quite well. Bitcoin's dropping a little bit here at 35,000, less than 35,001. Let's see what the dominance is reacting. The dominance is slightly moving down, actually, which means that altcoins are still holding on in light of this slight pullback, right? So hopefully we come back down and we watch the Bitcoin dominance go down, because I know a lot of us have altcoin positions that we would like to see continue to move up substantially. And Link's actually back below $17 with this recent pullback. Yeah, we mentioned XLM. I actually own some XLM, so it's not an enormous stack of it by any means, but I do have a little bit of it, and it's on a tear as well. So keep an eye on that one. I mean, it's up to 30 to 31 cents as well. Basically, it's had essentially the same return as ADA at this point. I mean, not quite as good, because XLM bottomed at 0.026, and right now it's at 30 cents. ADA bottomed at 0.017, and now it's at 31 cents. So, but they're basically doing very well. Both of them are doing very well. Keep an eye on Ether. It's doing well, still above $1,200. I mean, a $1,200 Ether is nice, right? A $1,200 Ether is really nice. But it does make me wonder, right? It makes me wonder what a $1,300 Ether would feel like. We don't know. It's been so long, I forgot what it feels like. So it makes me wonder what a $1,300 Ether would feel like. Remember, these moves can take weeks. And also remember that all of these coins are essentially slave to Bitcoin. So if Bitcoin has a strong correction, these altcoins will also likely have a strong correction. So you need to be responsible. You really do need to be responsible. I can't state that enough. A lot of people got burned back in 2018. I don't want to see that happen to you guys, okay? Don't want to see that happen. And it's easier for that not to happen, right, if you were the one accumulating crypto for the last couple years, not the one FOMOing in now for the first time. Because if you're FOMOing in now for the first time, that is very risky. If you're buying these coins at much lower levels, it's fine. I mean, imagine you buy Ether at $1,200 and then it goes down to $1,000 in a day. You might be pretty upset. But for the people whose cost basis is like $300, you can stomach a 20% drop or so, and it's like, oh, whatever, it's just a 20% drop, business as usual. Remember to subscribe to the channel and give the video a thumbs up. My exit strategy is dynamically DCAing the sells. So I sell small amounts at lower levels in a theoretical bubble based on historic bubbles, and then as the bubble expands and goes up, I sell increasing amounts, and I do it linearly to make sure that I'm consistently taking profits along the way. I never want to look back at a bubble and be like, I wish I had taken profits. I've never really regretted selling, to be honest. Even if you sell some and the price goes up, you just sell more, right? And it's not an all-in or all-out approach for me. It's not financial advice. It's not an all-in or all-out approach. It's just a systematic strategy to scale out of the market just like you scale in. And that way, when you look back, you say, oh, well, I didn't know where the top was, but at least I took profits along the way. And imagine you sell some Ether at I don't know, $1,200 and then it goes to $1,300. Well, I mean, that's why you don't sell all of it. At least that's what I would do. Not financial advice. I would not sell all of it. But you can always sell some of it at various levels, and or not market sell it. Maybe set like stop limits or stop losses or something like that. You could get liquidated on a wick, but again, the market is very it's very hot right now, and things could continue to go up for weeks. It also could be over tomorrow. So we have to recognize we simply do not know where the top is before a substantial correction. And if you keep that in mind and you just are systematic about things, then you'll never look back and wish you had taken profits in a bubble. Again, my strategy is not meant to necessarily try to time the top or bottom. It's just to, if you're always taking profits, you're never going to go broke. You live to fight another day. But again, I still have the majority of my Bitcoin. I still have almost all of my Ether. Almost all of it. I sold a tiny, tiny amount of it, but I have almost all of it. We'll follow the rest of the coins. We'll follow where DOT goes. We're currently at 10.19. ADA is still sitting pretty at 31 cents. And Link is around 16.86. Link has been doing really well the last day. From the bottom, right, from that wick, well, yesterday was the 5th, so from the bottom here, it was less than $13. And now it's all the way up to, around $17, and it peaked at around $17.75 or so recently. So the main altcoins that we follow are, I don't consider Ethereum an altcoin. The main altcoins we follow are Cardano, Chainlink, and Polkadot. We also sometimes cover VeChain. And, I don't cover as much on the public channel. We talk a little bit about it on the private channel, but not as much. But Stellar is a decent one. We sometimes talk about Litecoin and XRP. Obviously, XRP has not really been doing much of anything considering the SEC stuff. Litecoin has been doing pretty well. I mean, it's up to 166. So Litecoin has been holding up pretty well the last few days. The nice thing for me, I find, about setting stop limits and stop losses, are that it gives you some peace of mind that, like, when you're sleeping, if there is a crash, at least you took some profits, right? And if the bubble keeps scaling up, then you just increase the amount you're going to sell. That's what I do. Obviously, my strategy is not perfect, but it's just what I do. You just increase. Everyone's good at DCAing into the market, but I find that most people are very bad about moving out of the market because they just try to time the top, right? But you can DCA out, right? You can DCA out of the market too. If let's say you were buying Bitcoin in the last market cycle, if you were, buying in this region down here, you're just DCAing, and then if you start selling up here, right? Obviously, we didn't know where the top was, but if you just keep systematically selling, at least you're taking some profits. So then you take the average buy here, the average sell here, and you can see how well you did, right? You can see how well on average you did, and just say, you know what? I can't time anything. No one really knows. Let's just do the best we can. Yeah, I mean, I do think that the idea of Bitcoin and blockchain is a cool idea, right? I mean, I think it will transform a lot of industries, but at the same time, like, I'm not just here to watch it transform industries. I want to make money on it. Um, Thanks for watching, KSI. Crazy times, my friends. Crazy times. Remember back in 2017, Bitcoin peaked on the 17th of December, and then the altcoin rally continued on and off for about 4 weeks. Obviously, each time will be different, so this time will probably be slightly different. But I mean, like, if you think about it, if cryptocurrency, to give you an idea of how quickly things can get really out of hand, a 70% move by ADA in the last week has gotten it to 30 cents. Okay, if this continues, like, if we see another 70% move from here, which I'm not saying we will, but if we did, that would put it at a 50-cent ADA, a 52-cent ADA. And that could, like, if we were to continue over the next week and do another 70%, that would be a 52-cent ADA. And then if it did a 70% from there, over the following week, it might be an 89-cent ADA. Again, we're not saying we're going to hit these levels, but you get an idea of where the selling pressure comes from. Because if it starts to go parabolic, then the guys that were getting in down here and these areas are going to be up like 50 to 100x. And that's why everything comes crashing down so quickly, is because you have these guys, these investors. A lot of us are those people, by the way, so I'm speaking from a perspective of this is how I would feel. If you're up 50x, 100x, and we don't know if this is going to happen, by the way. We simply do not know. That this could be the top. Again, this could be the top. We simply do not know. But if it did continue, and you're coming up here, and you're looking at people being up like 100 or like 50x or something, and then, like, let's say it starts to correct a little bit, then all these people are going to be like, oh gosh, like, I don't want to miss it. Like, I don't want to watch it go up 100x or 50x and then watch it come back down. So then they start selling, and they're selling at such high, much higher valuations that they bought in for. So it's a lot of volume that comes into the space, and at some point you don't have enough buyers to compensate for it, and then it comes back down. So again, I'm very bullish on ADA. I still think it. I mean, eventually I do think it'll go well above $1, but it's all about the way we get there. 31-cent ADA is really good, and I still actually hold all of my ADA right now. I hold all of it. I have not sold any of it. But that can obviously change quickly, and having stop losses in place in general is a good thing, right? It's a good thing, in my opinion. But again, you could get stopped out, and if that's something you don't like the idea of, then you have to come up with your own strategy. So we're just taking a look to see where the markets are. I would like to see Link come out a little bit stronger. It is showing a lot of strength. Don't get me wrong, like it is. I mean, it's up 15% or so in the last day. But I still have high expectations for it. So it might just be that it'll make a major move later on too, and not in the short term. But the thing is like, I mean, how many? I guess it's more of a rhetorical question, right? How many people are at this time experiencing life-changing wealth, right? Life-changing wealth. How many people are experiencing like if you are someone that you're looking at life-changing wealth, just don't squander it, okay? Don't squander it. I say this from a perspective of having lived through many bubbles in the past, and sometimes I did better than others in terms of taking profits, but I can assure you that looking back on a bubble and not having sold anything is probably the worst feeling. If you look back at a bubble and say, oh well, I sold some, right? Maybe I didn't time the top, but I sold some, and then when it comes back down and you were selling it at 50 to 100x up or 20 to 100x up, and it comes back down, you did the best you could, right? You just simply did the best you could. But I mean, with Bitcoin, again, with Bitcoin this bullish at 35.2, if it holds these levels, like, I mean, if Bitcoin can hold these levels for a couple weeks, there really is no telling we don't know how high these things will go. I mean, Ethereum is moving up very quickly. It's been moving up very quickly. To give you an idea of just how quickly, and I know it's very easy for us to suffer from short-term memory loss in these markets, but to give you an idea, Ethereum hit a valuation of 550 on December 23rd. 550. That's less than half the current price. How many of you guys were watching on stream? I think we caught this on stream, I believe. This wick down to 550. How many people were here for that? Right? The final December capitulation. So, I mean, anyways, just to give you an idea, Ether from the December capitulation in USD is up more than 2x. That's pretty quick. Bitcoin's coming back up to 35.3. I imagine the dominance has come back up a little. Yeah, it has. The dominance has come back up a little, so we're going to want to keep an eye on that. The dominance is back up to 68.4. It looks like we hit this bottom again here, and we've bounced off of it at around 68.11. I mean, so far, the general trend, of course, right, has been down. It's been down. But don't underestimate Bitcoin. Yeah, everyone in the chat, I see a lot of comments like it's all fun and games, right? Until you wake up and the market's down 50% or something, and then then that'll. I mean, we say this all the time, right? And so far we haven't seen it anytime recently, but it'll happen. Believe it, it will happen. You'll wake up and the market's gonna be down significantly one day. Might be a month from now, might be 2 months from now. But as long as you're systematically profiting, then you'll look at that and be like, oh, an opportunity, right? An opportunity has presented itself to maybe move back into the market if it starts crashing back down. If that's just my idea, anyways. So yeah, the dominance is slowly moving up right now. Let's take a look at Bitcoin. This is 35.2. Ethereum has come back down below $1,200. ADA, I imagine, is still around 30 to 31 cents, if I had to guess. Yeah, 30.75, 30.759. Link is still below $17. Make sure you subscribe to the channel and give the video a thumbs up. Let's go for 1,000 likes and 84,000 subscribers. So subscribe to the channel. Remember, we also do have the Telegram channel with over 11,000 people. If you guys are looking for a community to talk crypto with throughout the day, I'll post that Telegram channel in the chat. If you want to talk about micro caps, we have another Telegram channel just for you, closing in on 2,000 people. So if you have micro caps you want to talk about, don't take it to the main chat room, take it to into the Cryptocosm chat room. So the markets have they're not moving much right now. I mean, just on like a minute time frame, of course. Why don't we switch Ether back over to say a 1 minute time frame and see what it's doing. This is Ether's 1 minute. Also, remember, if you guys do want to follow my strategy more, which has its is not necessarily perfect, but it does try to ensure that you take profits and tune out the emotional stuff. Check out the premium list into thecryptoverse.com, the weekly reports, weekly videos, Telegram alerts channel, Telegram chat room, risk dashboard, a few other things. Make sure you guys check it out. So let's see, the dominance continues to rise here in the short term. Bitcoin's back up to 35.3. I guess the Ether Bitcoin ratio must be falling a little. It has, down to 0.0338. All right. Hope everyone's enjoying themselves this January. We'll definitely remember this January. Who's going to remember this January for the rest of your life? It's been a pretty crazy time. I mean, if you don't own ADA and DOT, if you're asking if it's too late to get in, I don't know, man. I mean, they're pretty extended. Hopefully they go up, but I can't really tell you what's going to happen in the short term. I think ADA is a bit more extended than DOT in the short term right now. DOT's still around $10, which has been at for a while. And by a while, I mean like 4 days, so. I guess we'll turn on slow mode to make sure the chat doesn't get too much spam in it. You guys want to look? Why don't we pull up the 1 second chart for Ether? The 1 second chart. Let's cause some anxiety. If you sign up for the premium list, it'll be in the welcome email, the alert channel and stuff. Look at these anxiety producing 1 second candles. So who thinks Ethereum's going to be hitting 1,400? Do you guys think we'll make it before Bitcoin decides to chill out? Do you think Ethereum will make it to $1,400 or higher? Pretty crazy times, my friends. I was hoping we could watch Ethereum do something after it got to 1,200, but it doesn't really seem to be doing anything right now. Let's do our 1 second TA. Oh, it broke through. Let's see where Bitcoin is. Bitcoin's still at 35.3. Oh, Ethereum's moving back up here. Looks like, again, the local top is 12.15. Almost 12.16. So... Alright, clearly this is not happening. Oh, back above 1,200. Yeah, we have the regression band here. I guess if you want the Ethereum one, we got to switch over to say, let's switch over to like the daily time frame. Auto this out. Look at that. Just in case you're not sure if things are getting heated. Look at that. Just look at it. I'm not even gonna. I mean, what do I even need to say about it, right? What do I even need to say about it? Just look at that chart. Yeah, this is not a day trading channel, I can assure you. Someone says that's clearly not a bubble. I don't think the question is whether it's a bubble or not. It's just how high will the bubble go? That's the question. I mean, remember, again, we could still be early on in the cycle. I mean, this could just be, maybe it does something like this, right, where it comes up and then comes back down and then continues on, right? That's a possibility. We've seen that type of stuff before, right? I mean, look at this, up, and then it corrected. It moved up all the way to like $400, and then it corrected 70% before then moving from the bottom there up another 1,000% or so. So again, we could be early on for all we know. But again, at the end of the day, we know that this type of a move will have corrections at some point. It's not sustainable forever. I was just putting it on the same scale as the other one so we could see how close we're getting. We're getting pretty close to the prior all-time high. Remember to subscribe to the channel and like the video if you guys like the content. We'll switch back to the minute, I guess. ADA is still around 31 cents or so. So it's not doing much right at this second. Yeah, around 0.309. And Link is still just shy of $17. Someone says, why is Ethereum one market cycle behind Bitcoin? I think it just means in terms of volatility. It's like one market cycle behind. Let's see how we're doing. All right, so we've been going almost an hour. Maybe we'll keep this live stream a little bit shorter than most. Dominance has come up a little bit, so we'll, when we check back in, we'll see if we're able to stay, if we're able to come back down and break through this and put in. I mean, basically, if it goes back down, it probably means that Ethereum's going up, and hopefully some of the other cryptos as well. Would like to see DOT continue its rally. It looks like its local top is around $11 or so, or global top as well. remember, if when when I'm not on stream, you can always join the party in the Telegram chat room. So just remember that that exists. I'll post it in the chat again. And remember to check out the premium list as well. There's also a lifetime subscription option to the premium list in the description below as well. We mainly follow crypto right now, but it's good to go where the money is, right? Go where things are hot. Crypto's hot right now. It's had really attractive risk-adjusted returns all year, as I've said, but things can change. There's other markets, right? There's other ways to make money too. So just keep that in mind. The bull market support band ranges from 16.9K up to around 19K. So if we correct, which we're not saying we will in the short term, but if we were, if we did, that would be the area to hold as support to maintain the bull market, the integrity of the bull market. Someone wants to look up the rainbow band. We can pull that up. We'll see where we are. So here we are. So again, we're still around that same level. Remember they do move up, right? So that, I mean, this has been our general accumulation band right here. So we've had the top, right, bottom, we're up back at this level, so we'll see how high we go. Yeah, we've looked at the money supply. We even have the chart right here for Bitcoin divided by the money supply. Someone says, how low do we have to go to hit the lower progression band like in 2019? Well, I'm not saying that we have to go back to that level by any means. But if we did, it would correspond. I mean, it also would, I mean, what it is today wouldn't be what it would be if we were to go back there. But I mean, it'd probably be around $6,000 to $8,000. But I don't really necessarily buy that we're going to go back to that level anytime, anytime soon. So if we were to come back to this band, it would be between around 11,000 up to around 20,000. You can see the last cycle. All right, why don't we call it there? I need to go eat lunch and stuff. If you guys like the content, make sure you subscribe, give the video a thumbs up. Let's get to 1,000 likes. But definitely subscribe, and let's go for 84,000 subscribers. We'll probably do a live stream later today. Right after this video, I'll post an Ethereum video where we talk about short-term price movements based on levels of overextension from the 20-week and a few other things, so make sure you guys check that out. But it will be somewhat repetitive if you watch the live stream. Thank you guys for tuning in. We'll do this later, probably today. The only reason we wouldn't do it today is the main reason we wouldn't would be if the markets just kind of sit here for the next 12 hours. Like, I'm not going to come back on stream if Ethereum is still at 1190. If there's volatility either up or down, then we will probably come on stream later. Anyways, thank you guys for tuning in. Remember to check out the Telegram channel and the premium list and all that stuff. We will see you guys next time. And I will just post the Telegram channel in the chat room just as a reminder. All right, guys. See you later.